it's no fun to get up here. I like coming when I'm in the majority and throw my 2 cents in. And I am passionate about my dog. I wouldn't live in Newport Beach if I didn't have a dog. But from living there and seeing what's going on, and I, again, appreciate everybody's position, it's changed a lot. As I've noticed over the past several years, it's pretty much, a lot of these people say, hey, I heard about a dog beach down there. Well, in reality, and I want to thank you guys, thank the commission for hearing this, the MOU is saying, hey, we have to respect the law. And I walk my dog every day. I'm friends with probably a good number of these people. And I see them in the morning whether they're going surfing. And I think probably the majority of people here are the responsible ones. But being able to see this on a daily basis, watching people come across the beach, letting their dogs out at Olive, at Sonora, and then walking across the beach, watching their dogs poop, and then just kind of being oblivious. Over in the river jetty, yes, they can kind of curtail it a little, but we have poop everywhere. And then people might say, well, no, we don't, because you're making it up. Well, I hate to do this, but I'll give you pictures. And they're tasteless, and they're not suitable for framing, but they're pictures of on the sidewalk, literally how easy it would have been to pick it up. And yet dogs swimming, they can't help but drinking water, which is one other fact I would go to. I don't like taking my dog swimming right where the water's running off at low tide, because dogs are going to swallow water. And for my profession and health, I wouldn't want my dog to be swimming in it as much as my kids. I surf in it, but I don't drink the water. You know, I think all these people are the passionate ones, but they're unfortunately not the majority that come down in the middle of the day and let 3 dogs off the leash and just let them run. I could come up to someone when their dog's just pooped and ask them, hey, I got an extra poop bag. I carry a lot, like one of the gentlemen said. And they'll usually respond 1 of 3 ways. Hey, thank you very much. I ran out of one, or I didn't think to carry one. Or the second one is, hey, I don't really have to pick it up. I can kick the sand over it. It's you know, organic. Or I get the third ones who get belligerent at me and ask me if I'm the poop police and F off. And I'm like, you would allow this, just like all these people. This isn't in their neighborhood. But yet if you go on the neighborhood chats and look at these things, when there's a dog off the leash, in the shores, in Newport Terrace, in Newport Heights, on Balboa Island, anywhere, they're saying, hey, call the police, call animal control. But again, this is in our neighborhood. And so we're, well, rich homeowners. No, I'm not. I've been there 32 years. So it's our neighborhood, and we're proud of it. Like we're proud of the beach. We welcome people down. Newport allows us to walk on the beach, which they never did in the summertime. And they've changed the hours. We used to not be able to go out on the beach at all in the summer. And now with changes, and when they made those changes, the concerns were that dogs would be off the leash, and people professed, no, we'll keep our dogs on the leash. But it extends all the way down the beach. And we're allowed to walk our dogs from the river jetty all the way to the wedge on a leash, and that's exercise. I really feel that people are passionate about it. It's either convenience to go right to the river jetty, or you have 4.5 miles down the beach to go to Huntington where you can let them walk. If they really were passionate and say, well, I want calm water or something, you could go to Balboa Island and we can make a law over there because it's all calm water over there. You could go to Big Corona. You could go to Newport Shores in the fenced area. It's not in my backyard. And I'm just asking you, as a council or as commissioners, to help us respect the law. I'll give you these pictures. I don't want them back. But it just kind of shows you.
Take them down to the, yeah, I'll run it in there. Thank you. Next speaker. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Summer Bailey. I live on Balboa Island. I've lived there for over 25 years. And to the point that if it's in your neighborhood, if it's right in your front yard, I can speak to that a little bit myself and say that I live directly across the street from the Beak Center little park. There is a dog restriction there. If I called the city every time there was a dog at that little park, the phones would be ringing off the hook. I just feel like when you live in a place, close to a place where people, for instance, my experience is you're not allowed to play basketball past the sundown. But the joy I see when the kids are playing basketball past sundown reminds me of why I love to live where I live. And I am sure that there are many residents down by Dog Beach who feel the way I do, that the joy of having the dogs there is part of the joy of living there. And I feel very badly for those who don't feel the same way. I am not trying to discredit their stance, but I'm a dog owner. I love Dog Beach. I'm very grateful, by the way, for the beautiful dog park that the city has put right here on Avocado. I frequent it weekly, and I just wanted to say that I am here to say, please leave things alone. Don't change things, but if you're going to change things, please expand the dog use. Don't restrict it, because we are a community and it's very needed in our community, and it makes almost all of us very happy. Thank you.
My name is Stacy. I live in Corona Del Mar. I'm a dog walker in the area, and there's poop on every street in Newport Beach, Newport Coast, Irvine. It's all over the place. Bottom line is, this MOU is not going to fix poop in that area or in any other area. It's just responsible or irresponsible people. And just like everybody else says, I pick up more than my fair share because I don't want to be blamed for it being there. And I want the dogs to have as much freedom as they can. I'd like clarification, because you're saying that the Orange County rule is that there's no dogs allowed on the beach, and so that means you would be now at Newport Beach enforcing no dogs at all in that area that is the part that is the county, which is what everybody's using now. Limited resources. Bottom line is animal control only sends one person there once a day at this point, if that. And there's a coyote issue where dogs are getting snatched and killed every single day in this area. And so if I was going to put resources to going to that area more and more and more to try to get people not to have dogs there at all, when it's just a sort of unwritten, enjoyed thing, just not worth it, folks. It's not going to solve the poop. Just leave it like it is, and let's move on.
My name is Aiden Torres. I grew up here in Newport Beach. I live on the peninsula. I have a little dumb dog named Jack, and we've taken him out here for my whole life. Well, 9 years. And he really enjoys it. My sister moved out about 4 years ago, and she has a dog who's, I think, now 2. And she is very nervous to socialize with new people and new dogs, but every time you take her down to the beach, or the dog beach, she really lights up and enjoys to be around other dogs and other people. It's kind of like a little mini oasis, like a social club for all dogs to kind of meet and have fun. And my dog quite likes it, and I'm pretty sure everyone else's does. So, yeah, that's it.
My name is Nick Lewis. I'm a resident of Newport Shores, across the street from Dog Beach there. I've been going to that beach my entire life. I've been swimming in that water, as nasty as that is, for my entire life. And have really found that area promotes community. I think a lot of people have harped on that point tonight. One of the things that I think, to Mr. Howell's point, the question here is whether or not it is the city's job to enforce county code. We understand that, in my opinion, and I think everyone here's opinion, is a de facto dog beach. Whether or not that falls within code, I understand your point, but I think our point here tonight is that it is not the city of Newport Beach's job to address the county code or enforce it. Let's let it continue to be a de facto dog beach, regardless of what the regulations say currently. So as a citizen of your community, I ask that you not start trying to manage county code. I think it opens a different ball of wax, and it's a different discussion to be had. So just leave the de facto beach as it is. Thank you so much.
Tom Hartman. I'm a resident of Newport Beach. I'd just like to point out that the city's recently spent $52 million on a park in Newport Harbor, spent $150 million on this facility here. Maybe there's something that the city can look at. Maybe it's not seeing the need for another type of civic center, and that's at the beach for these dogs. There's obviously demand for it, so instead of fighting it, maybe the city could work for the residents and figure out a solution. The dog park here at the Civic Center, we've been here 3 times, 0 dogs, except for our own. That's not a good place to socialize. And as you've heard from many people before, dogs being around other dogs helps them be better behaved. So we need that. So where's the city trying to meet our needs?
Good evening. I'll try to make it brief. My name is Catherine Ballard. My husband and I own property on Balboa Peninsula. We walk here and we love it. That was my son that spoke that I'm ridiculously proud of because it means that much to us. He's the youngest of our 4 kids, so I've had little ones all the way up. We have not had an incident there. My mother graduated from Huntington Beach High School. We've been here forever. We've always been in this area. My grandparents taught me to build a bonfire nearby here, and we always had our dogs, and they always ran around. And I understand that's not the point tonight, is to, spout on about my childhood, which was awesome thanks to this beach. But the point is, we've never had incidences with dogs running around, and I have a little sick old dog. I feel perfectly safe having him here off leash. I brought my children here with our dogs and our dogs from the past that have gotten old with us, and they've run around and we've had a great time. And I do get that as a lady that's had issues with the small dog and the small children, but I've been there with my small dogs and my small children my entire adult life, and it's great. And when I was a kid, I don't have any dog bite issues, or I don't have any of that either. I wish that there have some more education in place where people understand the signage is a great idea, and it's getting repetitive at this point, but the signage, put your dog back on a leash or something as you're crossing over back to the city, would be fantastic. And as on the peninsula, we've got our own little crime problems, especially in summer. I get packages ripped off my doorstep. A guy ran up and took my husband's shoes off the patio and bailed one time right in front of us. We need the cops to get those guys. We need our resources devoted to that situation, not a bunch of peaceful people down there letting their dogs chase balls around. Thanks very much.
I'm going to ask how many people in the audience would still like to be heard? If you raise your hands, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to stop it in a little bit, but I want to make sure that everybody's had a chance to speak.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yeah, Gary Reasoner, a longtime resident of the Shores. I've walked various dogs to Dog Beach, although I wouldn't call it a beach. And you've been down and looked at it. It's actually a jetty with a sandbar. In terms of problems with BC or urine, let's face it, that's drainage for 100 miles of effluent coming down the river, and it's the outpour from the county sewer systems right there. So even if there was a loose turd on the beach, and I think everyone here, people are very good about policing that. I do understand local residents, some of the problems. I'm not in favor of the MOU. I do not want to see my tax dollars used to enforce county property, number one. Number two, it's not a problem that needs to be fixed. I think the guy said that, if it's not broken, don't fix it. This system has worked for years, it's just fine. It's really an enforcement issue, like this gentleman here. If there's poop on the sidewalk there, that's an enforcement issue. And we don't have enough officers now to enforce in my neighborhood poop on the sidewalk, and it does happen. So this whole thing is red herring in terms of feces in the Dog Beach area. It should be enforced on the city beach, and it's not being enforced there. So if you don't have enough people to enforce it now, does it really make sense to try to add this county beach and enforce it as well. It doesn't make any sense. So it's been the de facto dog beach forever. If you go to Google Maps, you look it up, it's Dog Beach. It's true. So I'm in favor of leaving it as is. And if the city was wise, I can remember people say, they look for some way to expand this service for the people, because there is a large portion of the population with dogs who want to be able to take their dog down to the beach and have them swim in the water. And this is the ideal location, because I wouldn't swim in there, but I don't have a problem with the dogs swimming there. There could be some ways to mitigate people walking down Olive Street and those streets there at the beach. They could put a sand berm down so you could walk straight off Seashore down to that area. That would mitigate some of the traffic going by the houses. There's been a couple of years when the city's actually done that. I don't know, by accident or whatever, but there has been sand berms within the past. So I'm definitely in favor of just leaving it the way it is. Thank you.
My name is Bob Waterman, and I live in Newport Beach for 23 years. I'm a dog owner. I live near the beach, about 10 houses inside of Huntington Beach, on the beach. And my concern a little bit is about having the city be as it is. On the weekends, I live near, people have to come up Prospect from the PCH, and then they have to take Seashore to the beach, a short distance. And this is just one perhaps minor thing, but the traffic is so heavy now, it's only room for 2 cars, and the competition for the cars, people have to stop their cars until somebody goes out, and people open their doors, and it takes 5 times longer just drive down the street than it used to be, let alone get out of the side street on West Newport. Now that's a fairly minor issue perhaps, but it is just an indication of how much the city has grown already and how much it's going to continue to grow from the surrounding areas. And I'm for keeping the laws as they are, and perhaps there's some way there's a compromise where the people that want to have the laws, that slice of Newport Beach, maybe that can be opened up to some kind of a dog beach area and patrolled by the city. I don't know, I don't have an answer, but I just know the city's growing and growing and growing, and the parking is getting, not just the parking, but it's the traffic and the people, and it's just getting bigger. I've lived here for 32 years, and it's grown exponentially. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I live in Costa Mesa, but I also work in Newport Beach on the peninsula. I always have a problem parking at my job. I know a lot of people here, very familiar faces, maybe some over here as well. I am a dog owner, and I go down to the river jetties. We love it there. My dog cries the whole way going there. I've been to Huntington and was disappointed. There was no barriers, no boundaries. I have a small French bulldog who is heat sensitive, so going to the water and being in the cooler environment is way better for her. I've also been up to the Newport one over here next to Fashion Island. It's small, it's astroturf, it's hot for her little paws. She gets overheated quickly. It's too much. We even go to Fashion Island. We walk around there on a leash, and she gets attacked by dogs. The most friendliest dog ever will kiss your face, love you. But no, it's better for her to be at the beach. But the parking situation, I pay for my parking every day. I go to work, I walk, all of us walk, all of us employees, and we're not bitching. We're still showing up to our jobs. We love Newport. I love my job. I love all the people that come in. And I just want us to know that if there is going to be any rules or regulations, there should be signs. And there should be a territory and lines that show where we're allowed to go, where we're not. If you don't have proper signages, we're all going to be miscommunicating, and that doesn't help the situation. So please help us keep our little dog patch area. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else that wants to speak? Yeah, come on up forward though, so you're ready to go. Come on up forward. Maybe you can squeeze in. There's a seat right there. Okay.
Hi, my name's Deanne Christine. I live on Lido. I'm a longtime resident of Newport Beach. I'm taking my 2 Great Danes to the county land at Santa Ana River for the last 5 years. It's a much needed outlet for dogs and their parents. Provides recreations to hundreds of locals at no cost to the city. Also, the city of Newport Beach profits from the very people in this room to which they pay parking at the city meters to use our own beach. This very commission is currently seeking locations for a second dog park in the city. The #1 site location being considered is Sunset Ridge Park, which ironically has parking issues much worse than West Newport. It has no parking. The parking solution being considered is to build a subterranean parking structure and a bridge across Superior. How many millions of dollars will this cost us? The residents already have an existing 6-acre dog beach 1.5 miles to the west. You cannot destroy what has become a community amenity without significant pressure being placed elsewhere in the city of Newport. Furthermore, any human-designed dog park will always be a poor replacement for what nature has provided. A dog beach with natural barriers far from roads and a continually changing environment. Thank you for voting no to Diane Dixon's proposal and for recognizing the will of the community.
Hi, I'm Terry from Costa Mesa. I spend a lot of time in Newport Beach and specifically at what we call Dog Beach. This is more than a city issue, it's a regional issue. Dogs need exercise. You can't properly exercise a dog on a leash, and this is a perfect case. They need exercise. If you keep them penned up in a yard, they become aggressive. Dogs need to be socialized, and that is the best place to do it. You have less fear of a dog that is socialized than one that is penned up. So please consider leaving this alone. I know we have laws for a reason and they protect people, but sometimes we trip over ourselves because we have so many of them. And sometimes you just have to say, what? So it's sometimes better to just look the other way. And this would be a perfect case in point. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marla Ranaletti, and I'm a Seal Beach resident. So I'm also an Orange County resident. And I would like to say that I consider this area to also be my backyard and my neighborhood. I may not live right next to it, but I definitely feel, because of the community and because of my use of it and my love of it, and also my tax dollars going towards Orange County, that it is an area that I consider my backyard. It's a special place, they've all touched on that, but it's a good place for people as well as dogs. When I've gone to this beach, of course I see all the dog owners enjoying their dogs, but what things that people don't realize is there's people who don't have dogs that go to this beach to enjoy watching the dogs frolic, chase a tennis ball, sit around. I can't tell you how many times I've had someone come up and take a picture of my dog, and I ask, where's their dog? And they say, oh, we don't have a dog, we just love this area. It's not just dog owners, it's also just people that love the beach and seeing the recreation that happens at it. So it's valuable for the dogs, it's valuable for all types of people. Of course, there's an assumption of risk with everything. Everything we do has an assumption of risk. I go to the Long Beach Dog Beach quite a bit, and it's pretty crowded. My dog has gotten hurt there before, but I still go, and I still love it, and I still love that the city protects it. This beach, I don't like being a lawbreaker or rule breaker to go and take my dog, but it feels safe for my dog, it feels safe for me, and I would like to continue to go even though the rules state that I probably should not be letting my dog go off leash. I, like others, I encourage you to possibly recommend to the city that they look at the leash laws and they look at the use ordinances for this beach and to the county as well. Because if you do have something that's a little more flexible, then you can allow for nonprofits that come together and protect
the resources. Huntington Beach has great groups that look after that beach and keep it clean and provide the dog bags. And I think the community here would rally behind being allowed to do things like that for this place of land. So thank you for hearing all of the people speak tonight.
John Pedersen, Newport Beach. I want to comment. I emailed all you yesterday about the staff report, and in that there was a 70-page water quality report from the state of California that found no evidence of any water quality issues at dog beaches or liability. There's a real problem with the staff on this report. I reviewed it, and as I noted in my email, the most troubling aspect is the data provided by animal control. At or adjacent to the river jetty means at or adjacent. And when I spoke to Valerie Schoenberg on the phone about this issue, it took several attempts before I finally got an answer. And at or adjacent is 1 mile to the east. That's not accurate. That's misleading the commission, everybody behind me, and the County of Orange. Further, the report states there's no fiscal impact to this issue, and there is, because Valerie testified in front of you in June of 2010 that there are only 3 animal control officers, and their first priority is public safety and radio calls. She went on to say that if and when there's extra time, that they will concentrate on enforcement at the beaches, parks, schools, and neighborhoods for leash violations. Widespread non-compliance with existing leash laws is not an enforcement failure by the County of Orange or a moral failure by dog owners, it's a policy failure. The city of Newport Beach has been unwilling or unable to deal with the lack of off-leash facilities as the dog population has grown. In fact, before the addition of the $15 million park/dog park, the city of Newport Beach has had 0 locations in 107 years where you could have your dog off a leash. In the absence of action, dog owners have, over the past 50+ years, established their own solution, which is to create a de facto right of qualified off-leash access to public space, to wit, that if their pet is licensed, under control, in proximity, and the owner picks up the animal, they are free to responsibly use public space as any citizen would. Based on this right established over decades, citizens have made major life decisions, commitments such as where they purchase a home, obtaining a dog or breed, establishing daily life patterns via employment and other activities. This right is so deeply established that regular users of the County of Orange Dog Beach at the Santa Ana River believe that this county beach is a legal off-leash area. The vast majority of off-leash users to this county beach are local residents with a fraction of outside users. It is unreasonable that the qualified right of historical access is now under threat. Serious life commitments have been made, and lacking adequate facilities, dog owners are in the position of technically violating county leash laws. And I want to point out, the county doesn't even know what the law is. The staff report states that dogs are not allowed, yet there's a sign that you put on the PowerPoint that says leash your dog. You can't have it either way, can you? There is significant legal liability, which we have a lot of that lately in the city, primarily for mayors, to both the County of Orange and the City of Newport Beach should enforcement be attempted after decades of open, notorious, and pervasive violation of the ordinance. Thank you for voting no to Diane Dix's agenda and for the wishes of literally one person.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wants to speak? I asked before, and there were about 5, so you people that haven't raised your hands. So let's go ahead and I'll hear the 2 of you, but we need to call it quits. If your area's already been covered by somebody else, you don't need to come up with additions, you just emotionally have to. Go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Kimberly Jameson. I'm a 26-year resident of the Newport Beach Peninsula. And I have a dog, and I violate the law by going to the dog beach that is pictured here and letting my dog run free. And I recognize that that's wrong, but I have a few questions for you. I have a practical question. With this MOU that you envision, what's the line for enforcement? Is animal control going to walk up the river to cite an off-leash dog? And if so, is that practical? Your own survey says 80% of the respondents that filled out your survey opposed an MOU. How is the city going to reconcile their own data collection if they decide to go through with the MOU? I think it's a fact that statistically there's not enough of a problem here to spend the tax dollar resources that could be better spent elsewhere. That's a point that's been made by others. And I want to remind you that laws, legislations, and MOUs are created to serve and protect against real hazards. I think you should make legislation on facts and not anecdotes. If you want to police county property, where do you stop? Are you going to start to police all other portions of county property and develop MOUs for other portions? This MOU is ill-formed, poorly formulated, and unwarranted, and is a waste of money. Dogs are family, and if you want to spend taxpayer dollars, money, and enforcing something outside your jurisdiction to restrict the freedom and the quality of life of your constituents, I think you need better reasons. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mike Glenn. I'm a resident of Balboa Peninsula for about 12 years, activist in the city, run the site safenewport.com, also a business owner. I too take issue with the staff report. In fact, the citation here of the My Sidewalk survey, I wrote city council, city management on this. On January 17th, I wrote them. There were 210 votes at that point in time, cast by 187 people. 210 votes cast by 187 people. I spoke to My Sidewalk about this. My Sidewalk told me it was wrong. Their survey was wrong. I said, how is it wrong? They said, we don't know, we can't figure it out. To this day, they have not been able to figure it out. The city is aware that this survey is flawed, and yet it's still in your materials. I also take issue with the fact that we are told that only one person has written on this subject, and they live in Huntington Beach. I have written on this subject. In fact, the PRAR request that I did for a Freedom of Information Act, essentially, to get the documents which Diane Dixon said that she received dozens of emails from residents seeking relief from Dog Beach, had one person that was seeking relief from parking issues. They were upset that they lived in an area that was popular. I wrote in support of Dog Beach. In that same PRAR request, I got other people from Newport Beach also that were writing in support of Dog Beach. So how there's only one person in your staff report writing in support of Dog Beach and they happen to live in Huntington, I do not know. I also take issue with this clause adjacent. We're talking about a stretch of land that's about 900 feet by 300 feet wide. It's pretty small. And we're going to use the citations for the adjacent land that's about 1 mile by 0.75 miles long. That sounds a little bit off. Furthermore, we've only had 12 tickets in that entire area. Now this includes neighborhoods, this includes dogs running across PCH, this includes neighbors' dogs attacking their cats. This is not just beach area. This stretches all the way across PCH, and we're using those citations to say whether or not they're going to apply to a 200, 300 square foot area there. It's very misleading. This is something that's a $0 amenity for Newport Beach. You've heard from basically everybody here, they all love it. I don't see why we're here, and I feel bad that the person that is proposing it didn't even bother to show up today. Thank you.
It does not appear that everybody that wished to speak has spoken, and we appreciate all of that and all of the input that you have given us. I'm now going to turn to my fellow commissioners, and they're going to have some additional questions. Roy?
You know, as Yogi Berra once said, this is deja vu all over again. Probably 3.5 years ago, myself, Tom, Marie, Ron, and Kathy sat in this old city hall and had a full city hall. And the city council asked the Park, Beach, and Recreation Commission to see whether we should remove the fire rings. And residents talked with the passion that you all talked. This is part of our community. There was a small group of residents They said it was about the smoke. It was about the fact that they didn't want people to come down. Unfortunately, at that time, this commission could not get 4 votes to keep the fire rings the way they are. It was recommended it goes to the city council. In one of the stupidest decisions in the history of this city, the council, without discussion, said remove every fire ring. Well, all of you know, 3.5 years later, and spending a whole lot of money, we still have the fire rings. I would hope that this commission would not make the same mistake again in their vote and recommend to the city council that this MOU is put in place. We have heard from our people here. It's county land. It should remain county land. If the county does not want to enforce it because they do not have the personnel, so be it. This is not a Newport Beach decision to be made. It should not be made stupidly like it was made for the fire rings. I beg this commission that there will be 4 of us that would vote to say no to the MOU and send it on to the city council. Thank you.
We've listened to all of you. Please give us a chance too. Tom?
Well, I get to follow Roy. All right, so on Sunday, I went down to the beach to investigate it myself about 3:30 on Sunday. In fact, I was photographed walking up the beach, and the first thing I thought of is, boy, I gotta lose some weight. But anyway, I went down to talk to the owners, and this is what I saw. They are dredging the, I talked to 10 people with their dogs. I talked to 2 of the county employees, and I actually talked to a dog trainer. And my observations were basically this, is that the county folks told me that they're going to be dredging that, and they're going to dredge quite a bit of that silt out of there. So I don't know how much longer it will be a beach in that between the 2 rock jetty areas. That's just part of their situation. I will say the people that I talked to were very nice. What I found is that of the 10 or so folks that I talked to, almost all of them were completely unaware that it was illegal to have their dog off a leash. They were mostly from, the ones I talked to, I don't know if it was a representative sample, but they were not from Newport, they were from Orange, they were from Irvine, they were from Huntington. But all of them gave me the same feedback that I got from you folks tonight, which is, hey, this is a great spot, this is why we come down here and so forth. I didn't see any aggressive dogs. I did see one poop in the water. I don't know how you pick that up. It didn't get picked up. But what I didn't see, and I want to say to the staff, is that the signage is really poor. The bags are, I didn't see any bags. I'm glad I saw a sign that said that. But what I kind of came away from was a couple of things. One is that we are, basically this city is pro-dog. We do build a dog park. You may not like it, but we did. What I also got from there is that while we don't have an official dog beach, people ask me, they said, well, geez, since it's illegal, what would it take to get one? And I don't know the answer to that. So one of the things that I know this is much of a side conversation, but I would like our group to look at what it would take to do something, because I understand the attraction of the beach and the water and so forth. Also, if it is between the jetties with the county property, yeah, people aren't going to really swim in that particular area. But the thing that I got from the county workers as well is that it's all about enforcement. A few of you talked about that. We only have 3 animal control enforcement. And I got to tell you, when I was there, I saw 15 dogs off leash, and by the time I left, it was closer to 30. And they go all the way down to the lifeguard tower number 71. And I don't know that it was mostly that they were there because the county workers had kind of shooed them out of the river jetty because there was heavy equipment going, working back and forth. But I think it is worthwhile to take a look at that. Now that is not necessarily germane to this conversation. One thing that Chairman Howland said, which is true, what's before us tonight is whether to enter into an MOU with the county. Like it or not, you folks are all outlaws. You're nice outlaws, but you're outlaws. So what we need to figure out, in my opinion, is the first thing is that I don't understand why we would want to get into a MOU when we can't even enforce the laws that we have on the books with our own people. And we're not getting any kind of reimbursement, so I can't support that at this time. But I would say in the future, to keep people that are normally, law-abiding citizens that pick up and are dog lovers and so forth, that we need to look at a venue that would be in that kind of a space for the folks to enjoy the beach with their pets, and not necessarily at the expense of some of the other residents. I would remind our group that while we're Newport, we're only half of the issue. On the other side is Huntington Beach. I think that's where the Gnatcatcher Reserve is. I don't know if anyone wants to take a look at that or work with the county, but the land is not going to be a place where people are going to bring their families to sit on the sand and so forth. It's going to be more of an active park. So in my view, I kind of see that as maybe a little bit of a longer-term solution. But at least in the short run, I don't think the MOU is a good idea until we can at least get our own house in order. And that's pretty much my report, Paul.
No. Public testimony is over. I'd have to echo a lot of what Commissioner Anderson just spoke. I happen to go to that beach quite regularly. The issue that I see is that it keeps growing exponentially. It used to be no dogs there 30 years ago, to about 10 years ago it was all combined to the river area, to now it's, all, as Tom said, all the way down to 71st. I happen to see dogs running down there I can't find an owner anywhere nearby. I do witness them pooping with no cleanup. So there are those issues, they do exist. So the problem is tonight we're here to talk about an MOU, taking on more land to enforce additional land when we don't enforce what we already have. So my question would be to the officers that are here tonight to say, what is the MOU going to do? If you're not going to enforce it, I don't see the point, because we're not enforcing what we already have. The issue that I see with the expansion continuing south or east down the beach is that the people that want to use the beach to walk on it, to lay on it, are bothered by the dogs that come up and approach them, and they don't want to necessarily have that. So, I would like to see a midway solution. I'm not a dog hater. I've been around animals all my life, but it needs to somehow be controlled, and it's just growing and growing because of the popularity probably of social media. So with the MOU tonight, I'd like to hear more from the officers as to what does that mean as far as enforcement.
Maybe the officer